excited to speak with you today about how having a business is like riding a bike. Now you may be asking, is that comparable in the sense that it's super easy, or is it comparable in the sense that it's kind of hard? Well, I'm going to be explaining the 5 points of how these two totally different things are very similar. The first thing right off the bat is you have to have determination. You really have to put your mind into either starting your business or riding a bike. And it took me a really long time to actually put my mind to riding a bike. It was one of those things where I didn't want to say that I couldn't do something, even though I physically could do it, I mentally could do it. It was just really me putting in the effort. And that's really about like starting a business as well. If you have all of the ingredients to starting a business and you just don't really want to do it, then that's really going to deter you. If you're going to say, well, you know what, if I fall or if I stumble, then maybe I just shouldn't do this. Well, you're going to have to push through that, put on your big girl panties and just say, I really want to do this, not only to make a profit, but for myself. And that's really kind of like the cornerstone of starting a business, is really having the want to do it. Just like riding a bike, you kind of have to have that get up and go mentality, where no matter if you're having a bad day or no matter if something is like, wrong in your life, you're going to have to really push through that and get the job done. Because if you don't, then really you're hurting yourself. Don't be discouraged if once you start getting on your bike or once you start having your business, you're not going to get as many clients, or you don't have like 100,000 followers on Instagram or anything like that. Don't let these things discourage you. You're not going to be perfect right off the bat. You're not going to have like a 6-figure business right off the bat. There's a lot of hard work, and those who seem like they're not putting in much effort, or it seems like they just had success overnight, you're seeing their peak at success. You're not seeing all of the blood, sweat, and tears throughout like the past decade. When you see them is when they're really elevated in their business. So don't be discouraged if it takes a few times or maybe 50, because personally it took me a really long time to start riding a bike. And it was all about balance, and it was all about like putting my mind to the test at being like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm pushing myself to do this. Even if I'm sore the next day, even if I have bruises, even if I fall over, I want to succeed. And that's kind of like with having a business. The end goal is succeeding, but don't forget that there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road as well. Now, you're going to make mistakes and stumble along the way, but just remember that if you really put your mind to the test, then you really will succeed. And I believe in you, and I know a lot of other people do too. The second thing about starting a business or starting to ride a bike is the starting part. I know it's so easy for us to be like in our heads and really worried that it's not going to end up well. You may be worried that you're going to fall off the bike. You may be worried that you're going to make mistakes and lose money throughout your business, and that's pretty much just the price of it. That is the price of doing business, is having all of those mistakes. But you know what? With mistakes comes lessons. If you don't have a contract and something really bad happens, then you're going to learn next time, I'm definitely going to have a contract. If you are riding your bike and you are steering the wheel and you turn this way and you fall, remember, you need to kind of balance that out and turn the other way. So really it's all about making those mistakes. It's inevitable. We're all going to make mistakes. No one knows about other people's mistakes because we want to share like the success stories. We don't want to share the horror stories, which I have a lot of like scary stories for my business and riding a bike that I'd rather not share with anyone. But if you are interested in kind of like the mistakes that I've made throughout my business, then let me know and I'll definitely make a video about that. And it can be really hard to serve a lot of people in like one certain niche. So just really be careful and mindful of who you want to serve, what you're selling, and the why you're doing it. Also, with starting a business, you just kind of have to do it, whether it's like going the full length, just making that leap, I actually leaped instead of did baby steps, but it worked out in the end for me, so I'm totally fine with it. But if you're not comfortable with that, if you're more comfortable with like doing the baby steps, that's totally fine. Just like with riding a bike, you have to do one step at a time. You're not going to like hop on and start pedaling away and going off into the sunset. That's definitely not a realistic idea, so just remember it's okay to have those baby steps. It's okay to put one block of foundation one at a time. And over a length of time, you're going to have a really great structure. Having a business, riding a bike, whatever in life is a journey. It's not a one and done type of thing. So just kind of keep that in mind and realize that you're not going to have success overnight. It's very, very rare for someone to have success overnight. The third thing I'm going to be talking about is having the right equipment. You can't go into a $100,000 wedding with a Sony CyberShot point and shoot camera. They're going to either look at you really funny or they're going to be like, who did I just hire? You don't want anyone to question you or your professionalism. You want to kind of, you know that saying, dress for the job that you want. You really want to have that equipment, and the equipment is kind of like an armor for you. If you don't have the right armor to go into battle, then it's not going to be a good situation. So if you have a client who wants that film look, or a client that wants like that digital look, then, you know, for the digital client, photograph them digitally. For the film client, try, you know, like have a film camera if that is something that you offer. Definitely don't go to the bride who wants the film with a digital camera, because then that may not end very well. And if you're a calligrapher like I am, if my client wanted the broad pen, kind of like illuminated manuscript style, I wouldn't be able to do that with the pointed pen. And even if I did have the broad pen, I wouldn't know how to do it. When you figure out who you want to sell to, and it's people who want the pointed pen calligraphy, then you're going to have the pointed pen materials. And by the way, if you are interested in any supplies, such as photography, calligraphy, stationery supplies of that sort, I definitely have a link to all of my supplies in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. And just like having the right equipment for your project or your job, you want to have the right equipment for your bike. So if you are doing like terrain and trails and like very bumpy stuff, I don't really know like the terminology. I just got into riding a bike, okay, don't judge me. Then you're going to want something like a mountain bike. You want something that has like really thick treads and a really wide width wheel. But if you're doing like just very smooth terrain, such as like a walking track or like in the front of your yard that's like pretty smooth, then you can have something that with a little bit thinner of the wheels and with less tread, so that way you can really coast and you don't have to like push so hard on it. It's all about having the right equipment, so that way not only are you not wasting time, not giving your clients the wrong impression, but you're also making more money off of it. I know it is an investment to have the right camera, to have like the right bike, all that stuff, but really it's going to pay off in the long run. Plus it is a tax deduction if you do buy a new camera, so that definitely helps with that. Let's say I'm doing a $200 calligraphy valve project, and if I have the wrong equipment, it could take me much longer to complete it. So if I have the $200 project and it takes me 10 hours to do it, then that's $20 an hour. I mean, that sounds great, but I also need to pay the bills and I want to be able to have time to do another project. So let's say I want to do 2 of those $200 calligraphy valve projects. Then I don't want to spend 20 hours on 2 projects. I want to spend half of that time. If you have the right equipment, you could do that $200 project for, let's say, 5 hours, and that's $40 an hour. Doesn't that sound much better than $20 an hour? Not only do you have time to do another calligraphy project, which would be $400, but it's taking you way less time. And time is a very important thing for your business, because we as entrepreneurs aren't only doing one thing. If you were doing a corporate job, you'd be doing one job. We're having to do like the accounting, the business, the email, the client communication, the assistant job, and all these other things besides our actual job. We really need to respect our time and make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing. A really important thing about starting a business, having a business, starting to ride a bike, whatever it may be, is that you can start at any age as long as you're physically capable of doing it. And sometimes you can like alter things to really make it more adaptable to you. Is you can really start at any age. When everyone was learning to ride their bikes when they were like 8 or 9, I was like not even interested in it. One thing was because I was scared because I didn't want to fall off the bike, but another thing was because I had just found out about Neopets, and I was all about Neopets. I mean, what was it called? The Miraca? That was my favorite Neopet. But that's besides the point. So I decided just a few weeks ago that I wanted to start riding a bike. So I went out and bought a bike. I love my bike. I need to like name my bike. Not exactly sure. She's a peachy color, so if you know of any cute names, let me know. And I decided that even though I am 25 years old, yes, I'm 25 years old, that I wanted to ride a bike because I didn't want to say that I couldn't do it. And just like with starting a business, you can do it as long as you have all of the right things in place. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter if you graduated with a totally different degree or not a degree at all, it doesn't matter. The best thing about this day and age, I hate to say that, I sound so old, but the best thing about this day and age is that we have so many resources at our fingertips, and most of the time it's free. We have YouTube, the wonderful world of YouTube. We have Skillshare, we have online communities, we have Facebook groups, and it's all to really help us learn information and see how other people do things. So I have a community called Becoming a Wedding Stationery Boss. We talk all about stationery, about the good, the bad. We ask questions, recommendations, in search of anything like that. We have a lot of resources for that. So if you're interested in that group and want to be a calligrapher or stationer, then make sure you check out the link here, or you can check out the link in the description box. I would love for you to be a part of it if you are interested in things like that. If not, there are definitely a lot more Facebook groups that you can be a part of. In the group, we actually do have a kind of application process. It's only like 2 questions, like how long have you been doing it and what's your like Instagram handle / website, I think. Make sure to fill that out because it is pretty much an automatic decline if you don't. So that's just a little heads up for you. So just remember, it's not too late. I think Vera Wang started at like 60 or 40 years old or something, and like so many other examples of people who created their businesses like later in life. I don't think that an age should be a limit to it. Now the last thing is, number 5 is don't put too much pressure on yourself. Really, this is an amazing time for you if you are starting your business or having your business or wanting to ride a bike. Don't be too serious. I mean, definitely be serious, but don't be too hard on yourself. It's really easy for us who really overthink everything. Like I overthink everything. Like riding a bike, I was like, well, wait, what am I supposed to do first? What if I do this wrong? And I just really had to kind of just go for it. And then I started having fun with it. That's kind of like with your business. After you do all of the hard work, you can actually start really enjoying it back to like it was a hobby. There was a point in my business where I was like, oh my goodness, this isn't funny anymore. But I kept pushing through it, and I was like, and I remembered how much I loved it. And seeing like reviews from past clients is like one of the best things. Or like getting a reply from your client and she says, oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. This is perfect. You did an amazing job. Like that is what fuels me. Like those words of affirmation really fuel me. By the way, that's like my top love language is words of affirmation. So I'm all about that. And when they say really nice things because I've worked so hard and they acknowledge that, I'm over the moon. I'm like giddy the rest of the week. Like like nothing bad can happen to me. I just absolutely love it. And that's what makes it so rewarding and so fun for me having my own business is the people who really value my work and who really enjoy working with me, because I enjoy working with them and I just hope that they think the same about me. With your business, try not to be so hard on yourself as far as, if you do make a mistake, it's all about adapting to those mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and really making sure you don't do it again. Be open to learning and keep pedaling. And that's really the only thing that you can do at the end of the day is just keep going and remembering why you started this to begin with. Because if you have a really strong why, then it's really going to continue to keep you determined and keep you, like your eye on the ball and making sure that you don't quit so easily. I know it's really easy to just like kind of give up on things, but at the end of the day, just remember like why you're doing it. Is it because you want to see the smile on a bride's face? Is it because you want to spend more time with your kids by working at home? Like, kind of think about why you're doing the things you're doing, and I think that you'll do well. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this enlightening, helpful, whatever it may be, let me know in the comments below.